the Around the NFL podcast. That's a great point, Marc.
From the Chris Wessling podcast studio, it's Around the NFL. That's the voice of God, Jason Semball. We had a going away party for Jason, who's moving east, but remaining with our program through the miracle of technology. Did I say I'm Dan Hanzus? I am. Marc Sessler here. Also,
I'm Lakeisha Westland, and this is the beautiful, intelligent, funny.
Ooh, keep going.
One of the most badass women working in sports today. Colleen, Wolfe, ladies and gentlemen.
What is this?
Thank you, everybody.
What is up? Was that from the podcast I did with Lakeisha? We weren't able to post it because of...
your guess is as good as mine, but it sounds like you're onto something because...
What unfolded?
We
Yeah,
just had a really good time.
yeah. Randy.
Oh, I see.
Randy behind the glass.
I could connect the dots on that.
Dug that out of the archives, and I was like, I've never heard that in my life.
Great
But I
job.
love it.
Me too.
Actually, I want to hear it again.
I'm Lakeisha Westland, and this is the beautiful, intelligent, funny.
Ooh, keep going.
One of the
Keep
most
going.
badass women working in sports today. Colleen, Wolfe, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, everybody.
Oh my God,
What
it's
is up?
unhinged.
There's something to be said for echo effect. Has it
Yeah.
ever not stepped up in a big spot?
I think in that big spot, it certainly added to the sound clip. I'll tell you
It
that.
always enhances
That's my
it.
opinion.
It always adds to the sound clip.
Marc, there is some humanoid stuff creeping in the last couple of
I
shows.
don't know why.
I do it too, Marc.
I left
Okay.
the last episode. I was wandering around my place, being like, "What do I think I accomplished over the last hour and a half?"
Yes, fellow human Dan, I also found that bit humorous.
That's not who I wish to be. So
No, and you typically aren't. That's
no,
why
I don't know. I think it's.
I'm wondering if an alien has taken over.
Right.
Is in your.
I'd
the
say
chair right
something
now.
deeper.
Where's Marc?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Something is occurring.
Wow.
You were out last week for that second show,
Yeah, it's not because of anything that.
and then these last two shows,
Well-
there's been a couple like alien-y type things.
Yeah,
I'm just a little red string in this thing a little bit.
I think it's fair to dig into. I have no deeper answers
There
to
was
provide
just
at the
that
moment.
story about the alien that landed in
the
someone's
backyard.
and big glassy eyes were staring back at him, and he was like calling 911 and being
Put
like,
it on
"I'm
the
not gonna
board."
lie, I'm terrified right now."
We're red stringing this thing.
Yep.
Figure of suspicion. And you better not. If
I'm
you are an
suspicious
alien,
of myself though, because I don't.
Right.
I can't connect the dots.
Marc better be safe. If indeed. All right, it's June. It's a June podcast. Madness. You know, this is madness. I walked in and the NFL Network is currently playing the Dan Marino fake spike game, Week 13, 1994, a game that I attended with my father, my uncle, my cousin, and that's when I lost my innocence as a football fan. The Jets had a 17-0 lead, and Marino throws 4 touchdown passes in the second half, including the fake spike. We've talked about this
We
before.
have, because there is an incredible little nugget to it. Was that a year before, Bill Belichick, the Browns coach, mercilessly cut Bernie Kosar, and the city of Cleveland wanted to find Belichick and set his hair on fire. He winds up with the Cowboys and winds up with the Dolphins as a backup, and it was Bernie Kosar, who was always described as cerebral and heady, which meant he wasn't very athletic, but he came up and basically advised Marino and the Dolphins to run that fake spike. So of all the people to take your innocence, you were victimized. That's a tough game to have been to.
Bernie's cool with me, so I'm not going to be down on Bernie.
Yeah, well, he would have done the same for the Jets. He had to be on the Jets. So
Go ahead.
How do you feel about it now, Dan?
Once your innocence is lost as a sports fan, you're never the same again.
Mm-hmm.
So I still think about it. I could still, from the loge where we were sitting, I could see the last Boomer Esiason desperation pass heaved through the back of the end zone and actually through the uprights as time ran out. I could picture fans walking through the parking lot at Old Giant Stadium, tearing up their Johnny Mitchell free poster we got before the game. Johnny Mitchell didn't do anything wrong. In fact, Johnny Mitchell, I think, had a touchdown in the game. Just ripping it up in anger because we had once again been tricked by the Jets.
I think the fan base collectively lost its innocence, perhaps, on that.
Long before that.
Okay.
Yeah. But
I'm so sorry for your loss.
yeah. Connie, How are you? How's the summer of Connie going?
Great. It's going fantastic. I've been outside a lot. I have a tan for the first time in a
There's
few
a lot
years.
going on with Connie. She's got like a platinum blonde look. We talked
a
about
distinctive change. It's a pleasant one.
the Game of Thrones lady.
Thank you. Daenerys Targaryen. Amelia Clark, right?
Amelia Clark.
Also, new glasses. We clocked that as well. A little
Yep.
bit of a Lisa Loeb vibe.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a cat eye going
The
on.
real ones know the Lisa Loeb reference in a big spot. So we're happy to have you as always, Connie.
It's great to be back and be in the same room with you guys.
I don't know if we've ever had Connie on the show in studio in June before. So I feel
I'm sure you have.
feels like a blessing. It just feels that.
But we'll make it feel new.
I think we'll need to fact check that concept you came up with. I think
Yeah.
she's done a June show. In the
Has she?
I
Okay,
believe so.
Probably. Greg is not here today, as you've probably noticed. He will be back. He.
What if Greg just had not spoken this entire episode yet? That would have been atypical.
I think everyone was able to deduce that he wasn't here based on the past. We will have a nice seg coming up today. Even the name, I think, is kind of like interesting.
I'm excited about this.
Who am I?
I love it.
Some mysteries
I love it.
involved.
Mm-hmm. Who am I? I'll just leave it there for now. But first, some news.
Dude, so I was passed out and I woke up to nothing but text messages, phone calls. I had no idea what was going on. And I got dressed, I came out, I looked down, and I smell like a smoky smell. And I'm like, damn, dude, so it's crazy.
Colleen,
Yeah.
what are you people?
We are proud Philadelphians, and we have a very specific way that we talk. And when I hear it, it makes me homesick.
All right, so let's hear a little more of our friend, who kind of looks exactly like my brother if he lived in North
Oh,
Philadelphia.
I can see
Yeah.
that.
You came out and saw it.
Yeah.
Did you know what was
Yeah.
happening yet, or did it just look like a fire?
Well, no, so I got all those text messages,
Nah.
screenshots. I'm like, everybody's like, yo, where's this at? Like, nobody had like a direct like
this at?
location. So I was like, look out my window, I see a bunch of cops. I'm like, bro, that's right by my apartment.
So, when did you figure out and realize that the freeway collapsed? in North Philly?
Oh, dude, I was
What a
passed
mess.
out when that happened.
Just passed out when that happened.
Brah, it's right outside my window.
Yo,
Love
where's
that
this
guy.
at? Both of my parents are from the Northeast Philadelphia. So that is actually how my family. That reminds me of home. Windows, tomatoes.
I love it.
How did I not know about that news story also? A highway
didn't
collapse?
know?
No, I didn't know about it. I've been tracking zero news when I'm not here. So.
Oh my God.
Well, wherever the real Marc is, he
Yeah,
probably is
he
aware
probably-
of it. This
yeah,
this
that's fair.
species, whatever we're talking to right now,
Still learning
Anyway.
about news and how it works.
exactly.
This current version.
The humans track the news from around the region and beyond. Make mental note for future conversations. All right, here is the latest drama out of Buffalo. And it is drama. It's just like, what is this?
It's absolute
What
drama.
is this?
Yeah.
yeah, it's like light June drama.
Light June drama with a little twist
Mm-hmm.
because of the, there's so much on pressure on Buffalo to get over the hump. You want everyone going into the season feeling great, and yet the Stefon Diggs, he did not show up for a mandatory minicamp. We talked about it on our Tuesday show that Sean McDermott then came out and said that he was very concerned about it. And then we learned after Marc, we did some discussion about what could this be? Is this about money? Is it something else going on behind the scenes? Here is Josh Allen as all this was cresting, I think, on Tuesday.
Steph, he's my guy. I excuse me, I love him. He's a brother of mine. This does not work, what we're doing here, without him. We wish he was in here today and was out there on the field with us, and that's not the case. But I've got his back no matter what. And again, I've got no doubts that we will figure out what's going on, and I freaking love him. I can't stress that enough. There's things that I could do better, and to help out with this process and try to get him back here and be the Buffalo Bill that he's meant to be.
Later, Sean McDermott said that Diggs and the team are in a real good spot, and he did apparently show up at the facility and practice a day later. So, Marc, what are your thoughts on what's going on here?
I think I would, if anyone cares about this particular June drama, I listened to that quote, audio alone, driving in, and then if you go watch him, in the eyes of Josh Allen, there is a disquiet. There's something else happening here. And I think that there are just seeds of discontent. Stefon Diggs is like top 3 most competitive wide receiver in the league. And like, he's in a great position. This trade worked for the Vikings. It worked for the Bills. It's worked really well for Stefon Diggs. But during Super Bowl week, he had some comments. I tried to go find like what has he said and what has he talked about. There's beyond some of the tweets that I think there was a building frustration about the Bills offense on some level. And I think we kind of forget that they went through some real peaks and valleys. Not only the team emotionally for what happened with Damar Hamlin, but the offense itself and some of Josh Allen's play, I thought regressed a little bit, especially like in the red zone and in the fourth quarter. And I think Diggs just wants to be that guy. And I wonder if there's some disquiet around Ken Dorsey taking over for Brian Daboll and how that all went down. I think it needed to be worked out. It needed to be talked about. The last time we saw Diggs on the field, he was angry at Josh Allen. And right there in the eyes of Josh Allen, I thought that we saw a quarterback take some responsibility for all this because he's a great leader. And there is a bit of frustration. I don't think it's a money thing.
Yeah, Josh Allen, it was interesting when he said there's things I could do better to get him in a better spot, meaning Stefon Diggs, which we saw Stefon Diggs kind of reach the frustration crescendo against the Bengals, and you saw that frustration over and over again. But I found McDermott saying the other day that he was very concerned after Diggs, left before the team practice, and then came around and said, there are a lot of things out there that aren't accurate. He was here on Monday for his physical, reported for all meetings, had a good conversation, got to a point yesterday where we felt we all needed a break, gave him permission, and he was excused. So he went from being very concerned to, it was an excused thing, no big deal. So that's really telling. It really does feel like it's all coming from Ken Dorsey and the offense and the scheme. That's what I kind of think.
Yeah, and I think if we look at some broader, like what the Bills are, where they're at, I think even before the Damar Hamlin situation unfolded at the end of the regular season, that was a tough season. They were this team that was on this kind of meteoric rise together. In the 2021 season ends after a great season from Josh Allen, and the offense was unstoppable at times, and really they felt like they could win a Super Bowl. They get picked off in the divisional round by the Chiefs in that unforgettable ending to that game. And then 2022 just felt like a slog for that team. Like, Brian Daboll leaves. They're expected now to win 13 games, and they have the regular season that they need to win the division, but nothing was as easy as it was the year before. They struggle through the first round of the playoffs. They struggle in the playoff loss to the Bengals. And now here they are again, and maybe it's Diggs looking up at a steep hill again. And as a passionate guy, there's some frustration knowing how difficult the season was last year. I mean, it's interesting. I think it is a June story, and this type of thing that we probably won't even think about in September, unless it's deeper than we realize. I don't know.
I think it is. I just think it's a personality thing because I think Diggs is engaging. He's all in. I don't ever lack trust about how much he wants to win and the kind of player he is. But I think there's a flip side to that where you get this, where he was discontent in Minnesota after a while with that offense and how he was being used. I think it's just creeping up a little bit. You're so right about last season because Josh Allen battled through an injury that affected his accuracy, his confidence, I think, to some degree. And that offense just came and went. And I think if you're Stefon Diggs, you're looking at the Bengals, you're looking at the Chiefs and saying we cannot lose a step to them and we cannot maybe we need to think about how we run this offense. I just think it ties back to who they are, their identity on that side of the ball.
Yeah, and Stefon Diggs, we saw videos of him dancing at practice when he was finally there, when the guys were stretching, so it seems like he's in better spirits. But the thing that sticks with me is a TNF years ago when Stefon was still on the Vikings, and they won, and Kirk Cousins and Stefon Diggs both came to the desk after the game. And this was towards the end of the season. And you would think, like, they just won, this is going to be a happy crew. And the tension between Stefon and Kirk Cousins, I can still feel it. Like, I could see how he is such an emotional human, an emotional player. And so obviously things did not sit well with him. I don't think it's money. Obviously you guys talked about that on the last show because he just got some last offseason. So you look at what he's dealing with here. Von Miller talked about it, saying that he's supportive and he wants to be here and he wants to win a Super Bowl. So I think it's just all that.
Right. Maybe, I'll just say it, maybe he's a bit of a pain in the ass. Maybe
I think part of his personality creates that sometimes.
He ran himself out of Minnesota.
Right.
I'm glad you brought that up, Connie. That was a previous stop where he was a star receiver there and made it very clear he was unhappy, which Minnesota didn't trade him because they wanted to. That he kind of asked his way out of town there, and then they used that first-round pick they got in return to get Justin Jefferson, and everybody won. But now Stefon Diggs is unhappy again. So we shall see what happens. All right, let's move to this doesn't do it. That kind of does it for me. That's some drama up there in Orchard Park. Now let's talk some contract stuff. We'll start with Justin Herbert on the idea of a possible hold-in if he doesn't get his new contract done.
It's something that I really haven't thought a whole lot about. I think the most of the offseason so far has been worried about, getting my shoulder right, making sure that I'm the best quarterback that I can be for this team. It's something you can address. I'm not quite sure. I don't have any more updates for you at this time, but like I've said earlier, I think the world of the Chargers organization. I've got
organization.
Is he from Canada?
So
what is that about?
Something that I don't know at the time, but
is this another?
Was he visited by the same group that I was apparently?
Getting my shoulder right. Is it the shoulder thing?
Yeah, he had surgery.
Yep.
Okay. So we'll see. It doesn't sound like there's much fire there.
Well, I think the hold-in also. He also had these quotes about that. You want to be there if you're the quarterback. You got Kellen Moore running and installing a new offense. It matters. But the hold-in, you can just cite any sort of malady, injury-wise, and you sit there and do meetings and don't do practice. He's coming off surgery. He could do this if he wants to.
He's also not like a sassy drama queen.
No,
he's
he doesn't seem to
so
want
laid
to
back, and
chase
he
that.
will remove himself from any drama. And he supports the Chargers organization.
Organization. But we also know the history of that organization. Don't make this weird. Hey, Chargers, don't make it weird.
Please.
Meanwhile, the Kansas City Chiefs have a star defender in Chris Jones. He's coming off I believe a 15.5 sack season there. He was absent from KC minicamp as they work toward a new contract. You know what? I think I gotta pull out Tommy Lee Jones here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care.
It's fine. It's gonna be fun.
Because Greg normally will send out early in the morning like the news rundown.
Yeah.
Or ideas, and we can add to it as it's a working file. But so he's not here, so I thought I'd do that to try to.
Did a great job.
Well,
Yeah.
but I will say when I came up with this rundown, I thought to myself, well, the Justin Herbert thing feels like a just wait a month situation. The Chris Jones is sort of like yawn. They've already said we're going to get this done at some point. But otherwise, we had one news item, so it's like it's June.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
No, but that was good. It was good that we hit it. We let people know
Sure.
that it's something that's happening.
Right.
But we are making it publicly known also.
Don't care.
Yeah, don't.
It's fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
In other June news, so the Bears are on the come up. At least that's what we're being told at this point, with a roster that's improving and a young quarterback that many people believe has a chance to really leap in Justin Fields. And perhaps now with Aaron Rodgers out of the NFC North, it is time for the Packers-Bears rivalry to actually become a rivalry again, Connie.
I'm ready. Yeah, cool.
And then there's a man named Justin Jones, defensive lineman for Chicago, who had this to say about Packers fans who does not really care for it seems.
We went up there and we played a pretty good game, but they got away from us at the end, obviously, and they won. But their fans are really so. I wanted to go back up there and I wanted to play them and I wanted to beat them and I wanted him to be there so you can see it. Man, just the way that they're just freaking obnoxious, just yelling and all that other stuff about things that don't even matter. Like we're not even running the play, and you guys are talking about boo. Oh yeah, go green. Like what are we even talking? The game hasn't even started yet. Like what are we even talking about here? Like y'all.
He's so annoyed.
Getting so mad.
Half of them don't even know football. It's so weird to me.
Ouch.
But I'm just ready to go back out there and play, and I want to go out there and I want to beat the hell out of them, on their field, and I want to hear the boos then, that's what I look forward to.
Yes.
No. I love this. I love this so much because you can hear in his voice how annoyed he is. Imagine actually what you're getting on the unfiltered side. Like we just got him in front of a mic, in front of the media, and he's probably tempering it a little bit. I would love to hear an unfiltered version of that.
I love the concept that Green Bay's fan base, compared to literally other fan base, has a pocket of fans that don't have any idea of what's going on. That's how he described the entire.
That was interesting.
I've never thought of the Packers fan base as like distinctly lacking knowledge.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what someone in the stands could be shouting at
Right.
him. That
Yeah.
his takeaway is like, oh, these people don't know their football. That's interesting.
It's a weird stance to have. It's a weird.
I love it, though.
I mean, it's totally
And you know what?
incredible to listen to.
I believe him. They're playing week 1 at Soldier Field.
There you go.
Oh.
So I think you're going to hear more from Justin Jones, hopefully, after the game.
I want to see when they're in Green Bay.
And it should also be known that Aaron Rodgers he was referring to went 24-5 in his career against Chicago in the regular season with 64 touchdowns, 10 picks, and a 109 passer rating.
I mean, it's like Brady against the Jets. It's like Big Ben against the Browns. It's like fill in the blank against terrible trash bag operation.
The Bears haven't beaten the Packers since 2018, and they haven't won in Green Bay since 2015. How about that? All right. In other news,
What else is happening?
let's head to the Kicker Club. Hot Rod's back, baby! The Tampa Bay Buccaneers signed Rodrigo Blankenship, formerly of the Cardinals, to a deal, also formerly of the Colts. He's converted 83.3% of his field goals since entering the league in 2020. Blew out a muscle in his leg last year early in the season, leading to his release in free agency. And now he's back, Mark. Always got the big goggles. Remember he had the weird blog when he was in college where he just was trashing his own team and stuff.
He had the wheelies that he came in on during Colts camp.
Wheelies, that's right.
He's, I love to have him back
yeah.
in the league. He also has like a vibrant Lego collection
That's right.
Instagram account where he does these like complex, massive sets, and he's all into it. So I think
does-
it's like when he left football, I think he was completely filled with all these other hobbies. I'm almost surprised that he ever returned.
Yeah, it's kind of good for the Kicker Club to have a couple rogue weirdos in there.
Yeah.
Just to keep everybody on their toes a little bit.
Yeah.
He's just on the wheelies, hopping over the.
An eccentric character.
Yeah, an eccentric. It's good to have eccentrics. Nailed it. And that's what's happening in the news. Let's take a break, and then who am I?
Ooh. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time once again for America's favorite guessing game, Who Am I?
Thank you very much, Colleen Wolfe. It is Who Am I? A game that dares our contestants to use their brain to figure out who is speaking.
Well, Marc's an alien, so he gets, this is
Well, I was
fair
concerned I was
already
going to have to
from
do
jump.
the game show voice for a second after, but you seem to have gone back.
I
to your-
figured an alien wouldn't know what a game show was.
That's
so
true.
I didn't want to do any more reveals in that department. So Connie got the call there.
Yeah.
But if I knew 100% that you were real Marc, I wouldn't have hesitated, bud.
Well, I think you're trying to work with the situation.
Right.
I think you're
appreciate that.
downplaying aliens.
I mean, do you believe?
Of course.
Yeah.
My dad saw one. He was
That's
in the Air
right.
Force.
First time I ever
Come
met
on.
your dad, we talked about
That's
that.
right.
That's right.
A staunch believer. He wasn't like, he's like,
No,
I
he's
know
like,
what I
that,
saw
yeah. Mhm.
Because
from
I
a
feel like
military perspective.
the government, and this thing carried into the 90s and even into this century, they tried to downplay anyone that was a believer or saw something as a wackadoo.
Yeah.
Crazy person, yeah.
And your father is no wackadoo.
Not a crazy person.
He is
Not in that right, at least.
Hardcore professional and military man, and worked for years in the aerospace technology field.
Yeah, he knew how to take apart nuclear bombs and put them back together. Worked in a missile silo. Worked at an oil refinery.
Sound like
air
someone
traffic
like
control.
floating off their rocker. Like he had a
That's me.
very straight account of what he witnessed, and he would not back down from it.
Our huge audience for this game show is probably very confused about this digression, but so let's get to things.
Okay.
Let's keep this organization together and go through it. We'll do 2 each,
Okay.
and I could get things going here.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Let's just lay down some ground rules before we do this. The job here is for the 2 people that aren't going to be able to guess who it is. And it is the job of the person to not make it so obvious, Like, hopefully there should be a challenge here, both for the people here in the studio, the Chris Wrestling Podcast studio, and those listening at home.
So you don't start saying like, I'm the head coach of the New England Patriots.
Are you nervous about the execution of this segment?
I am always nervous about the execution. Of this segment.
By the two of us, especially, I would imagine.
No, I feel good about you. All right, here we go. Let's get it going. First up, in Who Am I? Hey, crazy times, crazy times.
Are you this person now? Is this the first? Okay.
Oh, yeah. New chapter.
Okay.
I am loving it.
New chapter. Okay.
So much stuff to do here. So many activities. It's awesome. It wasn't like this where I used to live. There was nothing to do there. I was so bored. So bored.
When we have a guess, when do we stop you? Should we let this play out?
I would say let me speak and share my thoughts.
Okay.
And then share afterwards.
Okay.
But do you have a suspicion?
I do. I also do.
So, good job.
So bored. I didn't even open up the blinds on some days. Just laid there in the dark. Nothing to do.
Okay, depression?
At all. God. Looking back, I used to get a bunch of flack for doing weird stuff. But honestly, that was just to fill the hours. There wasn't anything to do. Just trying to kill time. But not anymore. Now I've moved and I'm in this exciting new place. And there's like so much stuff to do. And I'm thinking to myself, I didn't even have to do all that other dumb stuff. So exciting here. I'm super busy. Everyone's really nice to me. And I'm definitely trying harder with my job. Like, I care now. So I think I'm going to be better. I think my team's going to be really good because I just kind of care more. And I'm really good when I care. I'll probably get bored again next year, but right now everything is fun. Really cool. Really cool.
Should we guess?
Who am I?
Mine, what I thought it was, I'm not certain at all at this point. So
Really?
yeah.
Aaron Rodgers.
That is correct.
Is that who you thought?
No.
Who did you think?
Well, no. So early on, when you talked about,
Yes.
I was in charge of something, but it wasn't really me. According to a lot of people doing, I thought you might be going Eric Bieniemy, who now has like a full-fledged no. That was like 2 clues in. Then it went. Then I had no idea.
That would be really interesting to go with Eric Bieniemy to lead off this segment.
I kind of love it. I love
That's
that.
No, it's Aaron Rodgers,
Okay.
who is in New York and is living up the life. Just got back from the Tonys. He's
Going to games.
Going to games, going to concerts, going to
Summer of Aaron.
Summer of Aaron. It is really.
Yeah, it is really.
Uh-huh.
I mean, now you painted a full picture.
He's patterned himself after you, Colleen.
Yeah.
In
I'm
a lot of ways.
flattered.
Have you met Aaron on the Thursday Night Football stage?
I've interviewed him a few times. Yeah.
If he saw you, would he go, "Oh, hi, Colleen"?
I don't think so, but who knows?
Well, you never know. Maybe you would.
All right, so that's just to get us going.
Okay.
All right, Colleen.
Great. Okay. So, mine is not so much a cohesive story as it is a few clues. So I'll
Mine is similar to Colleen's. So
Right.
we've got a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Got
Okay,
it.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I'm ready for the 2023 season, and I'm just waiting for the right opportunity. If you're wondering, guys, I love a camouflage moment, and when I'm not on the field, I'm in the field. I can give you great recommendations for a moving company because you know what? I've done a lot of it.
How you feeling
Moving
so far?
all
Not good.
over the place.
Either.
You know, one thing I absolutely hate, though, second stringers. You can't trust them. They're out to get you every single time. However, I am open to being one, unfortunately.
I believe I
Okay.
think I might have a
Okay.
clue here.
Okay.
Last 3 seasons, you know what? Not ideal.
I know it is.
To be honest, the last time I felt joy was 2017.
It's very clear to me who it is.
Okay.
I won a Super Bowl, but not really.
Oh.
Yeah, doesn't like
Gotcha.
backups.
Gotcha.
My last relationship ended 3 months ago, and the silence since then is deafening.
I'm sorry, sir. Did you say I won a Super Bowl, but not really? That's a low blow. Right at the knees.
Who am I?
Right at the
You
right
are-
knee.
You are Carson Wentz.
Ding, 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 ding. That's right.
Wow.
He's in Tampa Bay right now working with John Gruden. And
That's right.
Since 3 months have gone by since he was cut, he has not heard anything from any team, and he's just still waiting.
Yeah, there are teams that make sense. Gruden's former team, the Raiders, makes sense. Jimmy Garoppolo's health is once again uncertain. Brian Hoyer is his backup, who's really closer to a coach than a player at this point. Over in Arizona, your boy Marc Colt McCoy right now is in line to be this. Like, there are teams.
They don't want to win games this season.
What's working against Carson Wentz a little bit is there is that creeping sense with Arizona, for example, that they don't want to win, so like they'll just roll with guys that they see as lesser than Carson Wentz. And then after that, like Tampa maybe would have been a spot, but they went with Baker. Like, so like how many other positions does he even have a path to? The Raiders just make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, just like I the way the world works, there's going to be 3 problematic quarterback injuries once people start practicing, and then Carson Wentz makes a lot of sense because there aren't a lot of other options.
True.
And a good backup option. I mean, when you look at the other options
I think so too.
that are out there.
Yeah.
Didn't the Eagles that Super Bowl year, Connie, start like 10-2, and Carson Wentz was a Super Bowl
He
favorite?
was an MVP candidate.
MVP favorite.
And then he got hurt playing the Rams right here next door at SoFi.
But my point being, and then you said he didn't even really win a Super Bowl.
Well,
he had a major role in that team.
He did until he got hurt. And then
it's
Nick Foles rose like a phoenix from the ashes and won them the Super Bowl.
Like Carson Wentz the next year is the starter again, walking into the stadium past a statue of Nick Foles.
Yeah, I don't think that's that one.
My point being, I don't think Nick's in that position if Wentz doesn't go.
Oh, absolutely not. No.
Poor Carson.
No way.
All right, Marc, you're up.
All right, now I maybe even approach this a little bit differently than
Okay.
so we'll just see.
Gotcha.
But these are just factoids. You can start to build a picture, okay?
Factoids.
I think Dan is just hiding in plain sight. He's the actual alien.
I think that's apt. So let's just start with my playing career. I played linebacker at UC Davis. That's where I got going. But there was a conflict because I really wanted to become a doctor. I was a neurobiology major, and we did some wild stuff. Okay. During one insanely long lab sessions, there would be these like 10-hour long lab sessions. We once had to wrangle a genetically mutated rat the size of a house cat. This is absolutely true. My father simultaneously has always been, my family, just deeply involved in sports. So I guess that's just been inside of me the whole time. And so during these long lab sessions, it was so serious that I don't know if I can do this with my career. I learned to love to work with athletes, with especially guys on offense. I've had one of the game's true stars say of me, in quotes, "No one brings me more joy than me," what I did for this person.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah. No, and it came from a legit
Feels good.
person. Yeah, it felt really good.
Yeah.
To say that means a lot to me. I like to make the room smile. It has not always been a big bowl of cherries. My Q rating is in a bit of a troubled spot at the moment, but I think I'm back in a good place where I can do what I do well. Someone in the room, in this room, you guys, has seen me in person at a non-league event. So it's not like at the combine, but one of you saw me and texted your friends that you saw me, but you didn't come up and talk to me. I don't know why. And I think if John Elway gets all that credit for recruiting Peyton Manning way back when, then I think I quietly, or not even quietly, like overtly, deserve a ton of credit for what I just pulled off this offseason. And literally I am a huge part of why my team looks the way it does today. And just fingers crossed that this player that I got doesn't fall off a cliff and cost me a job all over again like the guy I had last year.
Got it.
Oh.
I was struggling there for a little bit, and then it all came together.
You wanna go?
Yeah, that's Nathaniel Hackett.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
That rat thing is a true story?
Yes, in fact, I pulled that from an incredible piece. When he was hired by the Broncos, the first person I talked to in depth was Connor Orr, who was Nathaniel Hackett before the thing went totally wrong, was a figure of fascination last offseason. It was enjoyable, engaging, and we all knew that if I'd said, "Oh, I'm a hip hop instructor," we would have gone there right away. But he was deep in medical lore in school, and Connor wrote this whole story about
Paul Hackett was his father, offensive architect in the previous.
Yeah. I just didn't want, if I went Broncos early, Me being Nathaniel saying that,
Sure.
I would have given away too much.
So he almost became a doctor, and then it was just too serious?
I think he's
Or
just a very
that-
sort of a Renaissance man who made a life choice.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw him at the Las Vegas airport.
That's what
a
I'm
couple
referring
months
to.
ago.
Yeah.
I think he's a hashtag girl dad.
He is. He's got
I love
multiple
it.
daughters.
And Taylor Swift was in town, and half the city was at the concerts there when I was there that weekend. So obviously a good guy.
You went to the concert, obviously.
I would have loved to go to a concert, but I did not. But it seemed like everyone else in Las Vegas that weekend did. I didn't go up to him though. I really wanted to, but I was like, no, just leave the guy alone.
Yeah.
Let him live.
Hashtag girl dad. Let him do that.
I think that shows that you're not that you know how to handle celebrity in general,
Thank
your
you.
own and others.
Thank you very much. Also, that was prior to Rodgers officially landing, so I'm sure he wouldn't want anybody to be like, so is it gonna happen? Hey man, is it gonna happen?
Would you have gone up to him after Rodgers landed?
No, hashtag girl dad respect.
Okay.
I was gonna give him his.
What if
family.
he had boys? Does that change
Going
the
right
equation?
up to him.
What? So
It's
weird.
an interesting boundary line you've created, but I respect it.
I'm demanding conversation with him if he has like a 12-year-old son and a 6-year-old. It's weird. All right, good stuff. Okay, so far we've guessed all three, correct?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You
That was
guys
good.
did-
I didn't have that one.
I thought
didn't know that one.
I thought you guys
I
did
didn't
a
have the first one, so
better job than me because for me both of those only crystallized right at the end.
I think
That's
that's
kinda
like you
nice,
called
like,
it
runway.
in text and like sort
Yeah.
of peeling an onion. So
All right, I got a tougher one for my second.
Okay.
Here we go.
I love this game.
Thank you. Here we go. So does America.
Yeah.
I can't believe I did this. How am I going to get out of this? I feel like the kid who transferred from a great university to a less prestigious organization, because I wanted to be closer to my girlfriend, but then she flunked out and transferred out of state. So now I'm here without the person I came here to be with, and I've been set up on a blind date with a new girl who's really pretty, like a legit smoke show on a pure, like physical, carnal level. This girl is objectively hotter than my ex.
I know who this is.
But I don't know if there will be any chemistry. I had chemistry with my ex. I miss her. I really, really miss her. And I actually have I have some doubts, sincere doubts about this new hottie. So now school is getting ready to start again, and I'm heading back to a campus that I don't feel good about. I have a full ride scholarship, so that financially things are good, and I'm expected to be a great student like I was last year, but all I can think about is getting out and starting over again. It's like how Marc Sessler went through his college experience. You just, how many times are you going to start over? I've made a huge mistake, and I need some advice.
This is good.
Now I don't know who this
I
is.
thought I knew, and then I was like, no, it's not.
Organization was a red herring, by the way.
Okay.
So it's not.
Can I file a guess, although I don't feel good about it?
I want you both to guess, and then I'll say if either of you are right.
So for a big chunk of that, I thought the chemistry with X, kind of all right with new smoking hot show person, but like it's the chemistry may not be there. That's more visceral, visual. Like I thought it was Josh McDaniels dealing with the fact that he thought he was going to get Tom Brady, but that he got stuck with Jimmy G after not drafting anyone. But then you talked about him being a good student last year. And I thought that Josh McDaniels sort of failed the test, so I'm a little lost.
Colleen.
Yeah. At first, I was thinking Devontae Adams, but
That is correct.
That's great.
Oh my God! All right.
Devontae Adams is the correct
Yes!
answer. Right church, wrong pew.
Well,
Mr.
it's
Sessler.
interesting that it's you know what the problem is? Like, there's people listening that knew it was Devontae Adams. Then I spent a minute explaining the wrong answer. Like, that's that's like when you lose on a real game show. Turn the channel.
Yeah, Devontae, he's just like that transfer student, and you never leave, get closer to your girlfriend in college. That could just
No, it goes. It absolutely
that melts
goes south.
away, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden it's like, now what am I doing? That's kind of where he is, and I think Adams puts on serious football guy hat now. I wonder if he's had a lot of talks with his agent this offseason, and he knows part of the reason he left, not the whole reason. Green Bay was like to get paid like a super duper star, right?
And be respected.
He wanted to show he could do it without Aaron Rodgers, and but getting that huge contract makes it prohibitive for the Raiders to move on, is what we're hearing anyway. These things always tend to work themselves out, but right now it's like
They don't always.
Even if the Raiders wanted to reallocate the resource and go in a different direction right now, they really can't. And Adams is kind of locked in there for another year of his prime, which is now he's getting later into his prime. So I wonder, like, just where his headspace is as he gets ready for a new school year. Put it that way.
Yeah, and that regime can't just say this was the move of the last regime. They went and got him, and it's their job to make it work out. And you're in a chaotic situation, especially if Jimmy G is not. If he's just Jimmy G, you're going to have problems to some degree. If he's not healthy.
Jimmy G is the smoke show, by the way.
Yeah.
Derek Carr is the girl who flunked out.
That's what threw me, because I was thinking Jimmy G is the smoke show individual. But I've already described why I had this wrong, so we don't need to do it again.
I'm a little worried about the summer of Devontae. Like, definitely different from last year.
Very different.
Wow.
I mean, the whole hook around Devontae Adams last summer was that, like, no one is having a better summer.
Best friends back together. Yeah. Bummer.
All right.
Okay.
So,
that one was good.
But we're 4 for 4, by the way, which is both good and bad. But it's actually good that we have some wrong answers in the mix, too. Colleen, you're up.
Okay, here we go. So I've never met a camera that doesn't love me. I grew up, guys, kind of being a little bit of a ham. I also played hockey at home in Wisconsin, spent some time delivering pizzas. I feel like it makes me more of a man of the people.
Sure.
If you're wondering, my hobbies include winning awards and working out.
Yep.
Those things I live for, I breathe for. I have a big season of just like chilling coming my way, unless I decide not to do that. My last team, well, it's an abject disaster. And the team before that has been a wasteland for years. I'm joining Bob and Andre in a very exclusive club.
Bob and
Andre. My mom, Connie, this is true.
Ah.
Probably doesn't have her own summer of Connie, but she must be proud of all of her athletic kids.
Sure.
All of her very athletic
yeah,
kids.
this is.
My first name is Justin.
Yep.
Well, I had it at Wisconsin hockey player.
I had it at.
Yeah.
I should have put that lower.
I interviewed him once during Super Bowl week when he had just played his first season, and I knew about the pizza delivery thing, and so we talked about that at length.
All right.
It's like you guys follow the league or something.
If the audience is unaware, it is Justin James Watt.
Yeah.
That's right.
Is there talk about
JJ
Watt potentially coming out of retirement? Is there?
Well, so I thought that the fact that he doesn't want to sign the one-day contract with the Texans to enter their Ring of Honor, which is just two people, Bob McNair and Andre Johnson.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Didn't throw me off, but it also was like, I wonder what the hell she's talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's nice.
But you can't really have a ring when you only have two people. So now he's going to enter this like triangle, I guess, of honor. But he does not want to sign the one-day contract. And it's interesting that he doesn't want to sign it because I guess signing it makes it a little more complicated if he does want to come out of retirement.
Isn't that just a piece of paper?
That's exactly
Isn't it
what he
filing of
said.
the actual paperwork with the league? Isn't that where it becomes
He hasn't
different?
filed any of his retirement paperwork yet.
Nor should he.
Yeah.
Why would anybody? Like,
I'd wait a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See where you're at.
Take your time.
You played football since you were 10 years old, and you've decided to shut it down. You don't know.
Or what if the Chiefs come calling or something? It's like you're not going to go play for an absolute inept franchise, but maybe a Super Bowl contender.
I'm starting to feel a little, without anything to back this up, I'm starting to feel a sandwich prop.
Oh.
J.J. Watt signs with a contender in
It's
the
like
fall.
it's the new Rob.
I kind of
Gronkowski.
love that.
Yeah. No, he doesn't have to go through summer
Yeah.
OTAs, training camp, even the beginning of the season where he gets dinged up. Like, he just stays in shape, shows up around Halloween, maybe a little after, and all of a sudden, he's playing at Arrowhead at the end of January for a chance to go to the
It's a
Super Bowl.
great idea.
Right.
He's never won.
That's true.
Seems like a guy that would be like, I always wanted to win one. Most guys
Go to like Pittsburgh and play with TJ Watt.
But I just always thought, it's a one-day contract. just a piece of paper, which is what he said. But if he did sign it and then retired after the fact, he would be on the Texans reserve list, and then he would need to ask.
Yeah, we don't want.
No, that's messy.
To release
steer
him.
clear.
Yeah.
Let's, in general, if you're JJ Watt, steer clear of the Cardinals and Texans.
Yeah.
Give him some space. You could always come back to either organization in time. Organize.
I'd let this marinate if I'm him.
Where's Justin Herbert from?
I mean, I always think Oregon just because he played there, but I think he's from California, somewhere like
Organization.
Orange County?
Does
maybe?
Eugene, Oregon. Does anyone? My neighbor is from Oregon. I'm going to tee him up on that word and just see. I'm going to see what he says.
I say Oregon.
It's a big NHL.
Should I call my neighbor and see if he answers?
Yeah, do it. I love this.
What's the neighbor's name?
Nate. He's a really good guy. Hang on.
Don't even tell him he's on the show.
Yeah. I love a cold call.
I should tell him.
Danny.
Yo, Nate, I am right now in the podcast studio, and you're on right now because you're from Oregon, correct?
Correct.
A famous quarterback, Justin Herbert, as you know, he was doing the media earlier this week, and he said a word that we bumped up against, and we're wondering if all people from Oregon say this word this way. Can I text you the word and then have you pronounce it?
I'm hoping I'm the right guy, but yeah, let's see it, dude.
Okay, here it comes.
Oh my God, the suspense.
All right, you're here, by the way, with Marc Sessler and Colleen Wolfe.
I can just tell you what it is.
Okay, here it comes.
I hope you typed this correctly.
Happy Juneteenth, everybody.
Happy Juneteenth.
Yes.
Good call. All right, I just sent you the word.
Organization.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay,
All right.
so outlier.
Yeah,
Justin
outlier.
Herbert.
Justin Herbert said organization, and we didn't know if that was an Oregon thing.
Like, was it territorial?
Are his parents Canadian?
Jeremy, whatever.
Is there weird Oregon stuff? We were just going over some weird Philadelphia stuff earlier in the show today.
A lot of weird Philly
No,
stuff.
but you get the Willamette versus the Willamette. People constantly get that one wrong.
Oh, interesting. All right, I owe you a beer for this. I'll see you at Slice and Pint later.
All right, guys. Nobody steal home tonight, okay?
All right, later. There he goes. My neighbor, Nate. So that was an outlier.
Yeah.
Is there any Canadian blood in Herbert?
I'm trying to find. I'm not sure. I haven't come across anything yet.
All right, who's up?
I believe I am.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
the last one?
Yeah. And
Last one.
my
Here we
laptop
go.
has 2% energy, so I'm going to read this off my phone. All right. I was born about 40 minutes from your Chris Wessling podcast studio here in West Covina, California. Does that seem about how long it would take to
Sure.
West? You're out in the 10.
Okay.
I was a first-round pick, obviously. One strange fact about me, when I was in high school, you had to pick an elective
Yeah, of
beyond
course.
your core classes.
Sure.
My friend and I, we picked typing because this is a quote from when someone said about why we picked it. My friend, it basically had all the good-looking girls in it, and we were the only two guys in this typing class. He bowed out. I took typing 2, like 2.0 or the next level.
There's a
of typing.
second level of
Well,
typing?
he stuck with it. He was the only guy in the. I was the only guy in the class. But then my competitive nature took over because I
college
was
is-
raised in a.
Yeah.
Well, no, this is high
High
school.
school.
Oh, high
Yeah, I was raised in a.
High school, university.
I was raised as an adult, basically from age 6 or 7 on, to be extremely competitive. And so in this typing class, I didn't care who was in the class. I started to take it very seriously, and I wound up winning the state typing title by typing more than 90 words a minute without a mistake. I mean, absolutely.
That's remarkable.
Yeah,
Without
so-
a mistake. Wow.
From an early time, you knew that I was competitive.
And that means you have to have a level of, I think, intellectual brain power and hand-eye coordination.
Yeah,
at
I
that
think that's
level,
exactly what I was feeling when I
Yeah.
was winning that title. So my pro career got off to a rocky start. In my 3rd season, the team I came to was literally worse than the college team I left. It was, and for a number of years. But by the 3rd season, we started to sing. But I got injured, and the backup came in and won the final 5 games of the season, propelled us to the playoffs. And my coach, who was a very fiery individual with a lot of opinions, and he also was essentially our general manager, replaced me in the playoff. He put the backup in the playoff game, and they won. And so it was a huge pivotal win for a franchise in search of itself. And the next week, we got our doors blown off in one of the biggest wipeouts our franchise has ever experienced in a playoff game. And then the coach stuck me back in there in that game for me to be on the losing side of it at the end. So I basically almost wanted to trade. This coach also, when I was drafted another player at my position, also in the first round. Technically, it was in the supplemental draft. And so the first season plus, I kept going back and forth being told, I'm not even sure I'm the starter of this team. Finally, they traded that guy, and I became the dug-in starter. And I went on to have a celebrated career. And I would let you know that, you may be thinking this is a player from the past. I'm still in your world all the time. My coach, that fiery coach, is in television. My star wide receiver was in television. My fullback was in television. My star running back tried television but kind of flamed out. I did not. I'm there with you every single week. I'd say that I'm widely considered to be manly, good looking, and if you knew the position I played, you'd be like, that's what that position should look like. They always said that, and so I'm in the Hall of Fame. I spend football Sundays and Mondays with my best friend Joe. I had a ranch next to Pat Summerall. I believe I still do. I'm not sure. Before Pat Summerall passed away.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to tell you for now. I can provide more facts, but
I mean, I was completely in the dark. What do you got, Colleen?
No, I don't. I'm meandering through this maze right now.
Yeah, well, you mentioned I hang out with my friend Joe. So is Troy Aikman?
Yeah.
Troy Aikman's an expert typer?
Yeah.
90 words per minute?
When I went and did this, research, I was, starting to go down massive wormholes because, there's a lot of stuff about Troy Aikman that people don't know.
I'm trying to think so much of that stuff was just
So, Jimmy Johnson, they drafted Troy Aikman first overall in 1989. Then a couple months later, Jimmy Johnson drafts Steve Walsh, his Miami quarterback, in the supplemental draft. And so the first couple of years of Aikman's, it's up and down. Is Steve Walsh the guy that Jimmy Johnson really wants? Then they traded Steve Walsh, and then Steve Berline was this guy that basically dragged the Cowboys into the playoffs, and they wouldn't start. Jimmy Johnson wouldn't start Aikman when they beat the Bears. And what was a very pivotal, it's this Cowboys team starting to take shape. But after that, they lost to Detroit. It's the last time Detroit won a playoff game. They blew the Dallas's absolute lights out, and Troy Aikman won
that's
a trade.
when you kind of, because it was, a lot of this happened 25 years ago, a quarter century.
Well, I know. I was I'm going to slowly lead you there.
But it's cool, because he is still a highly relevant figure for football fans.
Yeah.
I feel like I see more of him than anyone. So
that was well done.
If you didn't mention the Buck thing, I would have never put it together.
Well, that was the last clue, because it was just okay, here's who he is.
Good work.
Great stuff.
So we did get them all, but some of them we really needed that last little.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff.
Makes for a good game show, I think.
Good seg. Who am I? Will it be back? Maybe. Maybe not.
We should have the listeners do one time, maybe, and then have.
That's a lot of pressure on the listeners.
And then the producer will have answers. So if it's Randy, he'll know, and then we guess.
All right.
Maybe next June.
Put that in the ideas file. Colleen does it again. Colleen, you've said it all.
Thank you.
Where you go next? What happens next?
What happens next?
Are you leaving us?
Great question.
No,
I'm here for all of June, and then I'm going to Hawaii.
Yes.
In July.
Very nice. Anywhere else?
Just up to San Francisco, and then a little Maui, and then I'm back here in July, ready to rock and ready for training camp.
We are living vicariously through you, Connie.
Absolutely.
All right. Good stuff. Everybody enjoy their weekend. Greg will be back on Monday. Until then, you know what you got to do. Heed the call.